Hello, my name is Imanali Mughal, and I am going to show in this video series that how we can take advantage of a SQL Server project template in a Visual Studio 2013. So basically, this template is given since from the Visual Studio 2010, but then in Visual Studio 2012 and 2013, there have been a couple of advancements added to this project template. So the benefit of using the SQL Server project in the Visual Studio is that the deployments of the database um, changes becomes very much easy. And another benefit is that if we want to deploy the database changes to different instance or different SQL servers, then that will become very much easy. If we want to deploy, for example, there are three instances on Azure: one for development, one for staging, and one for production. So if some of the database change has been made, so it has become very much difficult to manage all those changes in all those servers because if any single change in a column, the column name, or if we want to add some more columns in any table, if we want to add some new stored procedure, and if we want to add some new UDF function or a view, then replicating all those changes to all those servers is become a difficult task. And managing and versioning and saving those scripts with the different names and with the different dates has become more and more difficult when the size of the database grew larger. So, for to overcome these problems, Microsoft has introduced the SQL Server project template, which is very much easy to use, and I'm going to show you in this video series. So, this is basically the part one of that video, and the topics which I am gonna which I'm gonna cover in this series will be create database project in Visual Studio 2013. So I'm going to show you practically how we can create a database project, and then how we can add that project in a TFS source control. So adding the project in a version control system is very much beneficial in a way that it the source control, any kind of source control, TFS or a Git, can keep track of each and every change that we made to the code or to the scripts of these database. So basically, if we add some new column, or if we add some new table, or if we make some changes to stored procedures, so each and every change is going to record and save in the repository. It is very much easy at any specific time to revert back the changes or to redo the changes and go back to the previous version. So that's the important aspect of this project, that we are getting rid of saving each script file or each script SQL file to different with the date and timestamp and all that stuff. So this is the one of the great benefit of using the SQL Server project in Visual Studio 2013. And then I will show you that how we can publish to different SQL servers. Like one SQL server is on my local computer, and I have a separate instance of SQL Server on a network computer, and then I have a few SQL Server instances on different Azure subscriptions. So it has become very much easy task by using this SQL Server project template and Visual Studio 2013 to publish all of the changes and publish all of the database at once or very quickly to the separate instances of SQL Server. And then that's basically, I have already discussed that, get rid of the saving scripts from each environment. So now let's move on to the SQL, the Visual Studio, and I will start from a clean slate, and I will start from the scratch, that how we can create a SQL Server project. So in my Visual Studio, I have this Visual Studio 2013 installed. I am going to create a new project, and in the project templates, I have this SQL Server template and the SQL Server database project. So I'm going to name it to some, like I am going to show you about the customer orders. So basically this is a test project which I am going to create, and let's just create it. So as I have said that I'm gonna start from a clean slate. So I have created this customer orders project and it has been added to the Solution Explorer, and as you can see there is no references added and no properties. So this is a clean blank project. And now what I'm gonna demonstrate, what I'm gonna do, I will start creating the database tables. So instead of going to instead of going to SQL Server Management Studio, because some of the programmers do not have this management studio on their PC, or they don't access that. So what they can do, they can simply create the different set of SQL objects from within the Visual Studio. So I'm going to add a new table, and I will add a simple list table. I will rename that to let's say customers, and I'm going to add it. So now Visual Studio has given us exactly the same design pane or design panel like the Management Studio, and we can add different columns and we can set their data types and we can set other properties as well. So for this table, I'm gonna go ahead and create a customer ID, and the data type is int, and then first column is already added, and that the primary key constraint is already added by the Visual Studio. So now I just need to go to the properties and I can set the identity specification. So this column will become the auto incremented column, and it will be automatically added once we start working in this project. Then I am going to give the name, and it's and varchar allow null, then a couple of other fields like email address, and let's say phone number, and that's it. So this one table has been created in this project, and all of the script uh, is automatically generated on the backend. So now I'm going to create a new table, and then I'm going to create a couple of new tables in this project for that support the schema, the database schema. So now I will create a orders table, and similarly order ID, and if I am going to refer the identity specifications to true, then order name, and then order price. So this price is basically the total price of the order, and I'm going to set the data type for this field as money, and I'm going to save that. So now the one of the important aspect is that how we can manage the relationships. The only thing which is very unfortunate, that Microsoft has not added the database diagram support in the Visual Studio, so we cannot create and we cannot add different tables to the diagram, and we cannot create relationship between different database tables like we can do in a management studio for SQL Server. But no problem, there is only one simple statement which we can add in the script. So the beauty of this is that we can have access to the both of the panels or pane. One is the design view, we can add properties, and one is the SQL view, transact SQL view. So we can add the transact SQL statements right away from this Visual Studio SQL Server project. So now I'm going to show you how basically these the schema. If we look at the schema, this table is a customer table and this table is order table. So these are two entities in the database, and there are many to many relationship between these two entities, customer and orders. So what I'm going to do, I will break that relationship and I will add a middle table or a bridge table for customer orders, and then I will show you how we can add the foreign key constraints to that table. So once we add those foreign key statements, then once we and then when we publish this project to the SQL Server, so the relationship will automatically gonna be created. So I have created the customer orders table, and basically this is a bridge table or a middle level table between the two entities, customers and orders. And now this one statement is responsible for creating the relationship uh, between the customer and orders. So as I defined that, already said that this is a middle table, so logically there are uh, two way of relationship, like between customers and customer order there is one to many, and then orders and customer orders there is another one to many relationship. So we have, as you can see, we have a customer ID which is a foreign key and an order ID. So this customer ID foreign key is a foreign key to customer table, and order ID is a foreign key to order table. So what we can do with this one simple statement, that we can add a constraint and then we can give name to that constraint. So I have given the name as order, and the foreign key is on order ID, and this foreign key is referencing to the table order. And on order ID I have applied a cascade deletion mechanism. So in a way that once the order will be deleted, so its record from this table, customer order table, will also going to be deleted. So now I'm going to add another constraint for foreign key. This is just the name of foreign key constraint, and now this will going to be between customer order and customer, and I need to give this foreign key keywords, and this will gonna be applied on customer ID, and that is referencing the customers table. And I also want to apply the cascade delete customer ID on delete cascade. So these two, with these two statements, we can once and when we deploy this project to the SQL Server, so these, because of these two statements, the relationship between the tables will automatically gonna be created. And now I'm going to save that. I have also created another table, items, and this table is contains the information about the items. So basically we have a item ID which is a primary key, and this is identity number, then item name, item price, and item image. And then one more table as a bridge table. We need that one order can have many items and one item can be assigned to many orders. So basically this is again a many to many relationship, and we need to break that relationship to a bridge table or a middle table. So I have also created this order items table, and if you can see in this table, I have also created these two constraints which are referencing to the foreign keys, like order ID is a foreign key to the order table and item ID is a foreign key to item table. So that's a simple schema that I have built in the Visual Studio. So now what I'm gonna do, I will publish this project to a local SQL Server, right? So I have a local SQL Server over here which is named as Vibrant Dell, and there is no database in the server. As you can see that there is no database name customer orders. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to publish it to this SQL Server, and it will automatically create the database. So I will click on publish, and publish database dialog box appears. So this dialog box has certain features in it. So I'm going to explain a little bit. So from here, target database connection, I can reference, I can click on edit, and then this is the standard connection properties dialog box, and I will select the server, and then I'm gonna give the username and password, and then this customer orders. Right now this customer orders database does not exist in the SQL Server. So if I click on this test connection, the connection will be failed, right? No problem. I'm going to click OK, and it has been set to the my local database server. Now there are a couple of other buttons. I'm going to click on advanced, and in this dialog box you can see there are a lot of options which we can control uh, during the publish, right? So there is one checkbox, always recreate database. So whenever we publish, or if some of the changes we made and we publish again, then the database will gonna be recreated. And all the this option is you need to check this option very carefully, because if the database contains a real-time data, just like the database instance for the production environment, so you don't need to create click this checkbox. But right now, as there is no database exist in the in the SQL Server, so that is why I just clicked on this option. But later, when there will be some production data or there will be some real-time data, then I will simply publish my changes. I can simply publish my changes without dropping the database. So now I'm going to click on publish. Okay, there are some errors, and if you can see, all right, so this is a problem which we need to take care. So basically, when we created this customer order project, so the default of the default server, the target platform, was selected to SQL Server 2014. But since I am publishing this project to SQL Server 2012, so I need to change that from the property pages. And I just right click and I just click on properties, and these property pages appear. So in the project settings, I have a target platform. I need to set that platform to SQL Server 2012, and I'm going to save that. So now when I publish, okay, so one more thing you need to take care about, that once you set the specific settings, you need to save this profile as well. Otherwise, if you publish again, you will need to redo all the steps again. So that's usually the common practices which we used to do in our daily programming. Okay, so this has been set. If I'm gonna go to advanced, I need to always recreate, and then I can save this profile as well. So I'm gonna save this profile in my project directory, and I can rename it to local db. So as you can see, once I save, this profile appears over here in the Solution Explorer. So now if I click on publish, so as you can see in the publish, successfully completed. It has created the publish preview, it has been creating the database script, and it has executed publish script to database customer orders and publish completed successfully. So that's good. Now just to verify, if I go back to here on my local server, I right click on database, I get refresh, and here we go. This is our database customer orders, and if we expand that, we have all the tables that we have created from Visual Studio automatically created in this database. And if I am, let me see the relationships which I have talked about. If I expand this database diagram, and if I want to create a new diagram, so I'm going to add all the tables. So all the tables have been added, and that's perfect. All the relationships are in place, and I have not created this relationship from this diagram. I just added two statements in the table creation time, and these relationships are automatically added. So if we uh, check the properties of the relationship, that will gonna be, we also applied the cascade deletion mechanism, so it should be there. Let's wait for the dialog box to appear, and if we see, this is the name, and delete rule is cascade, so that's good. So that's how we can publish our database to local database project, SQL Server database project, to our local DB. Now the thing is, we need to add this project to some version control or source control, because that thing is very much this point is very much important, because if we will make some change in the column or any change, so that change will going to be recorded automatically on the version control. So what I'm going to do, I am going to, I have already created, just for the demonstration purposes, I have my Visual Studio Online account, and I have created this customer orders project over here. And now what I'm going to do, I will let me close down all the windows, and I will open my source control explorer. Okay, that is not available. Let me go to Team Explorer from here, and if I go to home, I click on this connect team projects, and then I'm going to click on select, and from here I have added the server. So I'm going to click on this Visual Studio dot vibrantplugins.visualstudio.com, So now as you can see that it has been connected. I need to also connect with the customer orders, so I'm going to connect that. So basically I'm connecting to the TFS, and if I open the source control explorer, I can see my projects. So this project is not yet downloaded, so I'm going to download that, and it will ask me for the map location. Then I'm going to map it to uh, the point where this project has been set up. So I have this customer orders, and I'm going to create map this part over here, and I'm going to map it. And now what it will do, it will download the bindings from the TFS server to my local computer, and it has been downloaded. So now let me check the local path for this solution. Okay, so this is the customer order, the path is correct. Now if I'm gonna add items to this folder, this should appear. Okay, perfect. And I select that, and I click on next, and all the files are there, and I click on finish. So now what it has done, now let me open let me close this solution and open this solution from source control explorer. So what it will do, it will add the solution to my TFS account, and I need to bind that. So I need to click that bind, and the second one I also need to click the bind, and then I click on OK, and as you can see this plus sign appears over here. Now I'm going to check in my solution to TFS. I would comment that initial commit, and I'm going to check in. So as you can see this project has been checked in, and now we can keep track of all the changes that we're gonna make. So let's say for example I will change another column for address. I will add an address, and the address can be long, so I will give 200 to nvarchar, and this has been added. Click on save, and as you can see this file automatically checked out. And now if I check in again, so these changes are getting published. So you need to add meaningful comments to each of the commit. So change to the customer table. So now I'm going to check in. So all the files have been checked in. So through this way we can keep track of all the changes that have been made to the database. We can add columns, we can add tables, we can add relationship, views, UDF, stored procedures from this database SQL Server project, and we can keep track of those changes. So now if I click on this customer, and if I click on view history, so I can see that first initial commit was about adding, and if we double click on that, so in this script there is no column for address, and if I double click on the top one, so you can observe this address column has been added. So we can keep track of all the changes, and we can get rid the real benefit of using this SQL Server projects in Visual Studio, that we can take we can get rid of the saving that each script files. And let me just show you in another project. We have a separate project, and in that project, if we, as you can see, this is the database library, and this has version 1.1, and it has a couple of long list of scripts. And then we have version 2.0, and the database changes are in these scripts, and there are a lot of scripts over here. So we can get rid of all these scripts even by using the SQL Server project. So this was the part one of the video series of managing SQL Server project in Visual Studio. So in the next part, I'm gonna talk about, or I'm gonna show you practically how we can take advantage of the seeding data. That once the database is created, then we need to seed some of the basic information, basic data, for example the country's information or the city information and the state's information, so we can populate that data on the post deployment or pre-deployment scripts. So I will show you how we can take advantage of those features. And stay tuned to my next video, and thank you very much.